Teddy Swims had been invited to The View as part of the promotional circuit for his latest album, expecting a lighthearted discussion about music, creativity, and his journey from small-town gigs to sold-out tours. But from the moment he sat down at the table, he sensed a tension in the air. Joy Behar, known for her sharp tongue and unapologetic style, locked eyes with him in a way that felt less like curiosity and more like she was preparing for a sparring match. At first, the conversation was polite enough. Teddy spoke about how his soulful sound was born from blending gospel, R&B, and country influences. Joy nodded, though her smile seemed tight. Then she abruptly shifted the topic, questioning whether his recent public comments about authenticity in the music industry were really a veiled critique of mainstream pop artists. Teddy laughed nervously, insisting he meant no harm. He said his point was simply that authenticity mattered, but his insistence seemed to strike a nerve. Joy leaned forward, suggesting that sometimes keeping it real was just an excuse for bad behavior or unprofessionalism. The tension rose immediately. The other co-hosts glanced between them, clearly wondering if they should intervene. Teddy's tone shifted from amused to slightly defensive. His voice deepened as he explained that in his world, honesty mattered more than polish or image. Joy countered sharply, accusing him of being dismissive of artists who worked hard to maintain their brand. The air in the studio thickened, the audience shifting in their seats. The second segment opened with an attempt to move things back to safer ground, but Joy wasn't letting it go. She circled back with a pointed remark about Teddy's tattoos and personal style, suggesting his image was just as carefully curated as anyone else's, that it was all about appearing authentic. The implication hit Teddy like a slap. He chuckled awkwardly at first, but his eyes narrowed. "This is just me," he said firmly, gesturing to his beard, clothes, and ink. "I don't dress up to play a part. This is who I am, whether I'm here or back home." Joy tilted her head with a smirk. "Come on, everybody in this business plays a part." The audience gasped and laughed nervously. One of the other hosts jumped in, trying to steer the conversation toward his upcoming tour. Teddy started describing his stripped-down, intimate shows meant to connect deeply with fans, but Joy cut in again, asking whether intimacy was just a buzzword to sell tickets. Teddy's tone grew colder. "Maybe people who don't understand. My music shouldn't try to define it." The crowd let out an audible ooh, and Joy's lips tightened. By the third segment, things had shifted from awkward to openly hostile. Teddy tried answering audience questions, but Joy inserted little jabs at nearly every turn, questioning his credibility, his work ethic, even hinting that his rise to fame might be more about industry connections than talent. Teddy's patience wore thin. He still tried to keep calm, but his answers were sharper now, stripped of the humor that usually charmed crowds. At one point, he told a heartfelt story about struggling to pay rent before his big break. Joy dismissed it flatly. "We've all had to hustle. That's life. Doesn't make you special." The comment stunned Teddy into silence. The audience murmured in discomfort as anger flickered across his face. He leaned forward. "It's not about being special. It's about respecting where people come from." Joy rolled her eyes dramatically. That one gesture seemed to push him closer to the edge. The fourth segment was meant to lighten the mood with a game, guessing lyrics from famous songs, but the atmosphere was already poisoned. When Teddy guessed a lyric wrong, Joy quipped, "Guess you don't know music as well as you think." The crowd laughed nervously, aware of the sting behind her words. Teddy gave a tight smile. "Yeah, hilarious," he muttered. Joy laughed loudly, her glances quick but loaded. Finally, Teddy leaned back and muttered into his mic, "Man, you really don't like me, do you?" Joy replied instantly, "I don't dislike you. I just think you've got more ego than talent." The audience gasped. The other hosts froze. Teddy's face darkened. For the first time, he broke eye contact, staring down at the table in silence. Even Joy seemed to realize how far she'd gone, but she didn't back down. Instead, she crossed her arms and waited. Teddy looked up slowly, meeting her gaze. "You don't have to like me," he said, calm but edged. "But you don't get to tell me who I am." The room went silent. Joy waved it off dismissively, but Teddy didn't let go. "I came here thinking we'd have an honest conversation. Instead, it feels like you came here ready to tear me down." Joy smirked faintly, but stayed quiet. The tension was so thick that even the other co-hosts sat in silence, afraid to step into it. Teddy's hands were flat on the table now, his posture leaning forward like he might stand up any second. Off camera, producers gestured frantically, trying to cue a rap or commercial, but neither Teddy nor Joy seemed willing to blink. When the sixth segment began, Whoopi Goldberg finally stepped in, her voice calm but firm. She redirected a question to Teddy about the deeper meaning behind his lyrics. His answers were clipped, shorter now, frustration seeping through, but Joy couldn't resist. "You talk like you're the first person to ever write about pain," she quipped. Teddy inhaled sharply and leaned forward. "Pain is universal, but how you tell it is personal. I don't expect you to get that if you've never listened to my music beyond what's on the cue cards." The audience gasped again. Joy's eyebrows shot up. Whoopi tried to step in, but Joy fired back. "That's your problem. You think you're too deep for anyone to challenge." Teddy rubbed his face, muttering something under his breath. The tension had gone well past playful. During the next break, audience members whispered, buzzing with the knowledge they were witnessing, something bound to go viral. Cameras caught the tail end of an off-mic exchange between Joy and Teddy. She leaned toward him, said something inaudible, and Teddy's jaw tightened. He shook his head. "You don't know me," he said before leaning back with his arms folded. When the show returned, Joy wasted no time. "There's a certain humility that comes with being in this industry. Some people get it, some don't." Teddy turned toward her, his smile gone. "And some people mistake arrogance for confidence." The audience erupted with gasps and scattered applause. Joy sat back, arms crossed. Finally, Teddy's patience snapped. He removed his earpiece, stood, and placed it on the table. "I'm done," he said. Joy blinked, caught off guard. "Oh, come on, don't be so sensitive." Teddy shook his head, glancing at the audience. "It's not about being sensitive. It's about not letting someone disrespect you in front of the world and calling it entertainment." The crowd erupted into cheers and applause as Teddy stepped back. One co-host reached out to stop him, but he just smiled, thanked the audience, and walked off. The cameras followed until the stage door swung shut behind him. Joy tried to smooth it over with a joke, but the energy in the room had shifted completely. Clips of the clash would soon explode across social media, sparking debates about respect, ego, and when banter crosses the line. But in that moment, Teddy Swims had made his point. Not with more words, but by walking away.